It all started on a brisk autumn evening. I had just returned to my modest cabin in the woods, the only place where I felt truly at peace. The days of bustling cities and office chatter were behind me, replaced by the solitude of towering pines and the occasional chirp of crickets. After starting a fire in the hearth, I settled into my armchair with a mug of tea and a book. That's when the knock came. It was faint but deliberate, echoing through the quiet night. My first thought was that it might be a lost hiker. Opening the door, I didn't see anyone at first. Then I looked down and saw her. She was about 5 feet tall, her skin a shimmering shade of blue that seemed to ripple in the moonlight. Her eyes were large and dark, with faint flecks of silver that reflected my stunned expression. Her hair, or what I assumed was hair, flowed like strands of liquid silver down her back. "Hello," she said in perfect English, her voice soft and melodic. "I am Yara. May I come in?" Still reeling from the sight before me, I stepped aside. She entered cautiously, her eyes darting around the cabin as if memorizing every detail. She wore a simple cloak, and her movements were graceful yet hesitant. "You're not from around here, are you?" I managed to ask, closing the door. "No," she replied, her gaze meeting mine. "I come from a place far beyond this world. I have traveled many light years to be here. My kind, we are few and scattered now. I seek companionship. Would you allow me to live here, with you?" The weight of her words settled heavily in the room. An alien, standing in my living room, asking to stay. My mind raced with questions, but her expression held a vulnerability that tempered my curiosity. She was lonely, I realized, lonelier than I had ever been. Sure, I stammered. "But you'll have to help out around here. It's not much, but it's home." Her face lit up, a soft smile curving her lips. "Thank you. I will do my best." The first few weeks were surreal. Yara adapted quickly to life on Earth, though some things puzzled her, like the toaster. One morning, I walked in to find her studying it intently, her silver-flecked eyes narrowing as the bread popped up. "Your technology is fascinating," she said. Simple, yet effective. She was a quick learner, and her presence brought an unexpected warmth to my solitary life. We spent evenings talking, her tales of distant galaxies weaving pictures in my mind of worlds I could hardly imagine. In turn, I shared stories of Earth, its history, and its flaws. "Humans are complicated," she mused one evening as we sat by the fire. "Your capacity for love and destruction. It is unlike any species I have encountered." "And your kind?" I asked. Her expression grew somber. "We were once many, spread across countless worlds. But greed and mistrust tore us apart. Now, those who remain wander alone, seeking connections that may never come." Her words lingered, a mirror to my own isolation. Yara's presence reminded me of what I had been missing: connection, understanding, and the simple joy of sharing life with someone else. Over time, Yara began to transform the cabin. She introduced me to her unique abilities, like growing luminescent flowers that thrived in the dark corners of the house. Their soft glow bathed the room in a serene light, making the nights feel less lonely. But not everything was peaceful. One evening, while we were gathering firewood, a group of hikers stumbled upon us. Their laughter faded as their eyes fell on Yara. Panic spread across their faces, and one of them pulled out a phone, its camera pointed directly at her. "Please," Yara said, her voice trembling. "Do not fear me." But fear was all they knew. They fled, leaving us standing in the clearing. Yara's shoulders slumped as she turned to me. "They will come back," she whispered. "With more." "I should leave." "No," I said firmly. "This is your home now. We'll figure it out together." As expected, the hiker's story spread. Reports of a mysterious blue creature in the woods attracted attention. Drones buzzed overhead, and strangers lingered near the edge of the forest, hoping for a glimpse of the alien. One night, a group of men arrived with flashlights and cameras, shouting demands for Yara to show herself. I stood on the porch, my shotgun resting against the door frame. "This is private property," I said. "Turn around and leave." They hesitated but eventually retreated. Yara watched from the window, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. Why do they hate what they do not understand? She asked. I had no answer. Despite the challenges, life continued. Yara and I grew closer, our bond deepening with each shared moment. She taught me to see the beauty in the small things, the way sunlight filtered through the trees, the intricate patterns of frost on the windowpane. One evening, as we sat on the porch watching the stars, she turned to me. Do you ever wonder if you are alone in the universe? She asked. Not anymore, I replied, my gaze meeting hers. Her smile was radiant, her silver eyes shimmering with unspoken emotions. In that moment, I realized that she had become more than a companion. She was a part of my life, as integral as the air I breathed. But the world wasn't ready for Yara. The attention grew relentless, and it became clear that staying here was no longer safe. One morning, as we packed supplies, she placed a hand on my shoulder. I must leave, she said softly. But I will return for you, when the time is right. My heart ached at the thought of her leaving, but I knew she was right. The world wasn't ready to accept her, and staying would only put us both in danger. The day she left, the forest seemed quieter, as if mourning her absence. I returned to the empty cabin, her presence lingering in every corner. Years passed, and life returned to its familiar rhythm. The memory of Yara became a cherished secret, a reminder of a connection that transcended the boundaries of species and worlds. One night, as I sat on the porch gazing at the stars, a familiar light streaked across the sky. It grew brighter, descending toward the clearing where we had first met. My heart raced as I rose to my feet, hope surging through me. Yara emerged from the light, her silver eyes meeting mine. She smiled, her expression as radiant as the day we met. I told you I would return, she said, her voice filled with warmth. This time, there were no questions, no hesitation. I walked toward her, the loneliness of years melting away in her embrace. Together, we stepped into the light, leaving behind the world that had never understood us. And for the first time in a long time, I felt truly at home.